Let's start by reading the question quickly. So we have a car that gets 30 miles per gallon. And what does that mean? Let's write that down. 30 miles per gallon is the same as 30 miles / gallon, which is the same as 30 miles over 1 gallon. So we write it as a ratio. And what this means is for every gallon, we get 30 miles, and for every 30 miles we need to go, we need 1 gallon. Okay, so write it as a ratio since we're going to use dimensional analysis. We need to find the cost of driving a distance of 4,500 miles. So we need that cost, which is a dollar amount, right? So that's our goal, to find the cost of driving 4,500 miles. We also are given the gas price, which is $2.40 per gallon. So that is the same as $2.40 over 1 gallon. So this tells us again in the ratio form. So that tells us that for every 1 gallon, we need $2.40. And if we have $2.40, we can purchase 1 gallon. So we write down all the important numbers. We're going to solve this problem, and solving the problem would be trying to figure out what the cost of driving 4,500 miles is. So the first step to this process or to this solution, let's break it up into 2 steps. We're going to find the cost per mile, right? How much does it cost to travel 1 mile? So that is cost, which is in dollars, per mile, which is the dollar amount, whatever that is. We're going to figure that out over 1 mile. And then once we know how much it costs for 1 mile, we're going to take the cost per 1 mile and then multiply it with 4,500 miles to figure out the cost for 4,500 miles. And this would solve the problem. That's exactly what we need to find out. So let's go to the first step. So in the first step, we need to find the cost, which is in dollars, per 1 mile. So we need the dollar amount to be in the numerator and the miles, which is the measure or the unit of distance, to be in the denominator. So let's see what we can use. We have the 30 miles per 1 gallon, and the other number we have is $2.40 per 1 gallon. So now we could use these 2 numbers to come up with the cost per mile of driving, or rather cost of driving 1 mile. And let's see how we can do that. Remember, we're using dimensional analysis, so we don't have to think much. We just need to know that the dollar amount sits in the numerator and the units of distance sits in the denominator. So let's start with, since that is in the numerator, let's start with $2.40 over 1 gallon. Okay. Now we need miles in the denominator. So if you notice here, miles is in the numerator. So we might want to flip this fraction. So it'll be 1 gallon over 30 miles. Now let's see if this will help us solve the problem. We need dollars in the numerator, so that's good. Miles in the denominator, but what happens to these gallons? We need to get rid of it and it works out because we can cancel the gallons in the numerator with the gallons in the denominator, and we get $2.40 per 30 miles. So the units are good. So we have dollars in the numerator and miles in the denominator. We just need to combine these 2 numbers and come up with, and we'll use our calculators, and this would be $0.08 per 1 mile. Okay, so now we've got our cost per mile. Now all we need to do is multiply this. If for 1 mile we have to spend 8 cents, we multiply that with 4,500 miles, and we know it should be multiplication because the miles cancels with the miles, and because we want our answer to be in dollars, and that's exactly what we get. So that's 0.08 times 4,500. And let's use our calculators real quick and figure out what this amount is. So that would be 0.08 times 4,500, and that is $360. And remember, that's exactly what we wanted. The cost of driving 4,500 miles.